morning, everyone, and welcome to American Scousers Morning Coffee or Tea with American Scouser. It's Friday, Reckless Friday. As always, we are brought to you by our friends at Reckless Coffee Roasters, and a Reckless Friday it is, as always. John is here with us. John, what's happening?
You all know what day it is, people. It's Reckless Friday. We made it. We made it. I'm happy that it's Friday. Good to be here. I'm good, Tim. How are you?
Yeah, it's been a good week, man. It's been a good week.
It's been a
So
great week.
can't complain. Can't complain. So far, so good. Anand should be, might be, could be joining us. So we'll see with that. But as always, people in the audience gathering, good morning to everybody. And then we'll get started over here with some headlines. Obviously, a lot of it is going to go to club's press conference for the pre-match. Major news right here. Maybe that's why Anand is not here. He's crying somewhere. Jurgen Klopp says he needs to check on the fitness of that. I didn't understand this a lot. Like, I'm assuming we're not totally clear. But you actually posted a video on Discord afterwards where it was posted by Liverpool, like them coming to practice. It doesn't look like he's wearing a boot, but I'm assuming it's swollen. That's what he means by being able to put it back
Probably.
into a boot. Yeah. What do you think? I mean, do you think this is kind of like maybe a little gamesmanship? Klopp doesn't do a whole lot of that, but he does leave it out there floating around. So is it just gamesmanship, or is he really hurt?
Yeah, I feel like there's a genuine concern. Nunez probably got that, soreness on his foot for striking the ball way too much last game against Chelsea. Every time he had a shot on, it was like, oh, I'll shoot. Why not? Why not? It's good. Give it a chance. But yeah, in all seriousness, yeah, I think there's a legitimate injury. Thankfully, it's not too bad. Because for all the times we clown Nunez in this channel, in this show, he's actually a very critical part of our front line. And Tim, I would assume for you as well, probably one of the first names on the team sheet in that front three, even with everyone healthy. In terms of
even with everyone healthy.
Probably, yeah. I would assume, if I'm not mistaken, because I mean, you got Mo, probably Jota, Nunez, maybe, or Diaz. Well, like we were talking about
You
at the
just
start.
debunked your whole theory.
Right? Maybe
I like how
I
you were
just,
like, "Oh shit, maybe yeah, maybe not." Yeah, I think that Jota is the name over there that kind of like maybe earlier in the season, and we've always talked about, oh,
yeah,
he's so great off the bench and stuff. But we said the same about Nunez too. To be fair,
yeah,
I don't think we've had somebody as polarizing as Nunez
yeah,
in recent years. Like, I cannot think of a guy. There's always like haters. Maybe like Henderson was one of them, who don't like maybe understand some of the things certain players do and stuff like that. But let's say for like a striker, at least, I don't think we've had any forward that has been as polarized. And there's constantly discussion about him. I know, like in the Discord, like Rich Godo, like we're
yeah.
constantly talking about him.
Yeah.
Which I will shoot the Discord channel invite if you're not over there. Just hop on, and so you can discuss and fight over Nunez as well. But I guess one of the things they were talking about yesterday, and I was like, I didn't get a chance to respond. I just kind of like saw the conversation with Gally and Rich and stuff. I feel like both are making valid points, but let me ask you this, because one thing Gordo said, and I do, it's kind of like an interesting take, is where like the number of shots he takes. Is that some stats? There you go. It's like the Batman signal when you say Nunez, Anan shows up. But so going back to that, John, when we look at like number of shots taken, like, is that something that you value, or is that at the same time sometimes some of these shots are really taking away possessions and opportunities as well? So we shouldn't be like, oh, he had so many shots on goal. Well, yeah, if he keeps cranking them up, Diaz would have a lot of shots on goal too.
It's like a mixed bag. I feel like it's dependent on the situation. Like in Chelsea, Nunez's aggression, I feel like it set the tone. Right, it set the tone for the entire team, being massively aggressive, swarming all over them. I think for certain situations it's a great thing, but against better teams, I feel like when we have less of the ball, when we have to pick and choose our moments, sometimes you want Nunez to like choose that better option, maybe play that overlap or pass it back to the midfield to recycle the ball and shift it over to a better area. Yeah, for games like Chelsea, no, I don't mind it at all. Like, no matter how much criticism Nunez gets on his end product, if you're gonna ask a defender if they want to face a 6'2" dude with that speed, everyone, I guarantee you, will say no. So again, Nunez is only around 23, 24 years old. A lot of kinks in his game that can still be ironed out. A lot of people on the Discord or anyone, in social media would say like, oh, how much time are we going to give him? Still a pretty young buck. And I feel like, if the bar is the floor, as we keep talking about, if the bar is the floor now, 11 goals, 11 assists, right? You can't really argue with the production. So I would be the first to say right now that I think for all of Nunez's flaws, we have to stick with him, because in terms of making things happen, in terms of being a threat, it's just you have to have him there at all times. I feel Chelsea kind of proved that.
Yeah, I mean, you have to bear in mind his contributions, not only what he does. I mean, we said this before, Mo, sometimes too. Like, he might not show around as much, but he's doing a lot in terms of creating space and, like the work rate and stuff like that. And you can never blame Nunez for lack of work rate. Ryan says, okay with the misses except to PK. I'm more mad at Klopp on that. Should never take. I mean, I guess he had we were just talking about it before we went on air. He had like a 100% record. I think it's like 13 out of 13 or something like that before this. And the curse continues. But yes, anything he has to think more than a seconds. I do agree in terms of that, though. Like, if you were looking at correct characteristics. So let me ask you this then, Anan, since you're probably are within the ranks of American Scouser over here, his biggest supporter. Is it because, we say, oh, he's so wild because he is cranking these shots? If you're Gakpo, let's say, right? If Gakpo says, yeah, if I was freaking cranking shots instead of playing within the system, you guys would notice me and I will look like I'm making an impact as well. Just being the devil's advocate here.
You guys can hear me?
Yeah.
I'm having some of the weirdest difficulties. No, so here's the thing. And somebody said this too. Nunez creates a lot of his own chances too, and nobody talks about that. He creates a lot of chances for himself out of nothing. Yeah, he misses, and the thing, everybody's like, oh, he missed a penalty. How many of the last 10 penalties did Mo miss? And nobody ever mentions it. I don't understand that strange anti-Nunez rhetoric. Like, Mo has missed so many penalties in his last few penalties. Even when he was taking a penalty for Egypt the other day, a lot of the Egyptian fans were like, why the hell is he on the penalty? He's missing him. But when he misses for Liverpool, it was like, it's okay. It's the Egyptian king. It's not Nunez. That is just weird. Listen, and a penalty can be missed. A penalty can be made, and it happens. Klopp chose Nunez to take the penalty because of his perfect penalty-taking record.
It was a perfectly struck one as well.
But I know about what Ryan is saying. In terms of penalty, if I'm trying to pick somebody, and the fact that the moment he has to think, it feels like things go south, that will be the last person I take. I mean, I didn't know his record beforehand, and honestly, nobody knew till he missed. We were like, why do we pick him, kind of a deal.
It was a well-taken penalty, just a little unlucky, and it was that kind of day for him. Yeah, if you're a Gakpo, you're like, okay, this guy's missing shots. Maybe I'm in. Maybe I'll score these. But also, when we saw Gakpo, against Norwich, he didn't have the best of games. He was atrocious in front of goal. He missed a lot. He wasn't positioning himself well. And again, nobody talks about that. I don't know if because his name is not Nunez, if it's because
I think that's an unfair thing, though. You don't see Gakpo grabbing the ball in front of the box and cranking shots.
And that's the difference, though. How many of those shots that Nunez took could have gone in? If you don't shoot, you're not going to score.
Any shot I take can go in too, Anan. I mean, when you're cranking a shot in front of the box,
when you're hitting the bar versus, when you're hitting the post 4 times or 3 times, 2 of those were from outside of the box versus you're just shooting to shoot. It's a difference.
But he's sometimes shooting to shoot.
Yes, that's a striker. That's how you're gonna get goals. And listen, again, he creates his own chances. I like Nunez. I think some of those shots maybe he should take less and try to be more of a fox in the box. Sure, why not? But I'm not gonna blame him for taking shots and he's trying to score. And it's not like his shots are horrendously being missed. He's hitting the post. 1 more inch down and that's in. Yes, we can say that about any ball that's being shot, but we've got to give him that credit. He's creating his own chances. His expected goals are very high. He's shooting well. He's going to get toned and he's going to get just those couple of tweaks left and right, and he's going to score goals. I sent a video yesterday, Gary Lineker, Alan Shearer, and some of the top strikers are talking about, wow, this guy's good, and we like the way he plays, and he's gonna get goals. And then we're over here like, oh, he missed a penalty, he sucks. We're blowing it out of proportion. Yes, we're being patient with him. Yes, he's missed plenty of chances. Who hasn't? He's gonna come good, and he's gonna be a big, big problem.
So when are we going to say, yeah, I guess he's never gonna come good? I guess that's my concern. Like,
so I'll say
we
this:
don't give anybody else, and I say this over and over again. You guys can deny it all you want. If he doesn't have the price tag, he doesn't get these chances. So at one point, do we say, well, I guess he's never gonna come through? Because if you throw anybody out there, if you throw Gakpo out there, if you throw anybody out there and say, yeah, crank any shot you want, man, in front of the box, outside the box. The world is your oyster. Just keep shooting. I mean, they'll get some goals and they'll get some contributions too. And then we'll be like, oh, he's got enough. When do we say, because first it was the language, then it was the offseason, then it was the language again. So when do we say, okay, I guess he's not going to come through? And mind you, I'm not discrediting his contributions. I think he's very helpful because of his physical traits. He causes a lot of problems, a lot of worries that opens up things for everybody else. But I'm just asking, because we've been saying this for another 6 months, because we've been saying this since the beginning of the season. When will you say, well, I guess maybe he's never going to come through with that finishing aspect? We're going to have to go with this guy who might not be great at finishing, but just does so much that we still need him out there. Because that's what we have right now.
If he didn't have double digits in goals and assists, I'd say maybe he's not having a good season. But 10 and 11, only player in Europe to have that. I'll take that any day. Give me 10 and 11 this season. Give me 15 goals, 20 goals next season. I'll be happy as long as he's still contributing with the assists. But I'm happy with them. Find me one player in Europe that's got 10 goals and 11 assists. You won't. Find me one player in Europe
that plays the minutes. I mean, we'll talk about Jota too, because he did mention like his in the press conference about like the knocks he takes, and I think that's partially because of how he plays, and he's not built like Nunez either. But I feel like if Jota gets the starts that Nunez does since the beginning of the season, because obviously my Mo is there, automatically a position is eliminated. We're trying to find somebody else.
So Jota's playing really well, and he's flying, right? But how many times did we start Jota back-to-back games and everybody's like, oh my God, this is horrible. So
what did we say horrible for? We said it for his misses, right, John? I mean, like when he missed, we were like, oh, he's not as clinical.
And holding on the ball too long at some time.
Whenever we talk about the the post game and everything, Jota's all-around game has improved so well. Like I said in the last post game, like everyone shits on Jota because he doesn't do well in the build-up plays. He has trampoline of a first touch, all that, doesn't pass to the option. But this year, it's like, am I watching Diogo Jota or Bobby Firmino sometimes, the way he links up the play? And I think, all credit to Nunez. He's done really well. But I think the reason why we look like we haven't missed Mo as much is because that combo, that Nunez and Jota combo, I think they complement each other really well. With Jota's intelligence, complementing Nunez's just raw physical traits.
Yeah.
And it really, really helps us. The whole Jota argument, I feel like it's, hopefully been put to bed because, again, I keep banging on this drum. Second most important attacker after Salah. When he gets a chance in the box, more than likely 80% he finishes that shit. So can't even argue about that.
So he says he still wants an official apology from Anand about Jota. So the mic is yours, Anand. Go ahead. Go ahead. We're listening. We're all ears.
So what am I apologizing? Well, no. I will not apologize that I'm not gonna apologize that he said Jota's the best striker we've ever had since Fowler, because we had Torres, what? What I
don't know. Maybe he meant
Liverpool striker wants an apology for that.
Hey, Anand, would you rather have prime Sturridge or prime Jota?
Prime Sturridge with my eyes closed. Sturridge was one of my favorite players.
I know this is such a. But the problem is you're gonna have prime Sturridge for like 2 weeks.
Well, if he's staying fit, because I'd like a
Thiago of strikers, if you will.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. No,
I love how I was like, yeah, you got me there.
Prime Sturridge was so unplayable.
Yeah,
he was and he's one of this isn't talked about much, but he's one of England's most skillful players as an English player. You don't see an English player that can dribble, give you, moves and all that stuff. Sturridge did that. And his finishing was unbelievable. His positioning was unbelievable. The injuries really screwed him over. So I will take Sturridge with my eyes. I would take Sturridge above Darwin. I would take like you don't understand. That guy was so good, but the injury screwed him over so much. So prime Sturridge, and no, Jota's not the only good striker we've had since Robbie Fowler.
I would not take Sturridge over Nunez. I have to say, on
Really?
this team, I would not.
Oh, okay. On this team, I was like,
Because
geez.
one thing Nunez does, and that's like basically what I appreciate about him, is the work rate. You're not going to get that from Sterling. You're not going to get the pressing. You're not going to get the runs, which is why he always said that's one reason why he had an issue with Klopp. And the second is the fact that he was always hurt. And probably one of the few guys that I've seen Klopp throw under the bus as a player, pretty much blaming him for not playing anytime he has some kind of a pain. Whereas, you ask any pro player this time of year, something is hurting one way or another. So he says, agree. Jota is on a hot streak at the moment.
I'm curious. Normal service
will resume at some point. Jota will be better of the breach. What I like about Jota is probably smarts, because somehow combine his smarts with Nunez's physical traits and work rates. We would, put him in a lab or something like that, and then come up with like a player. That would be the thing. The thing, the whole Nunez thing, the reason I bring it up is, like I said, I was telling John, he's like a polarizing figure, and there's a lot of discussion about him. The thing that really, really gets to me about Nunez, like, he can miss. I don't care about the misses. I think Ryan was saying it earlier in the comments. I'm okay with the misses. And it's just freaking unlucky. When you hit the post this many freaking times, that's just freaking unlucky. Yeah, if you open net, you hit and it's not even that, like he's taking these shots that are like barely saved onto the post and stuff like that. And I agree with Anand. You can miss penalty kicks. But like Ryan is saying, I don't know if he's the right guy to take the penalty kick at that moment, knowing he's already struggling scoring, and then when he thinks it gets worse and stuff like that. The thing that gets him about Nunez is immaturity, because there's like a 30-second portion there in the first half, I think it was, where he is offside unnecessarily, and then he gets a stupid yellow card right afterwards. He probably, at least Bobby was getting stupid yellows for taking his shirt off after scoring. And Mo, that's how they get the yellow cards. He gets needless, just stupid, immature yellow cards. And I always worry about him that he's going to get a red in one of these games because of how he tackles afterwards. Top of the league and continuing good form without Salah. Yeah. Are people any more confident, even with this whole Nunez debates, with life after Salah? That's the interesting part, right? I don't even know if we're getting a glimpse of that in some ways. There's so many unknowns now because, we'll talk about that next in terms of Klopp talking about the midfielders and like what he was mainly, let me find that over there, that they wanted to sign, like they were basically mainly after eights who could play in both directions. And that's what the midfielder profile we were going for. Anand, the key is now we don't know life after Mo, because this is going to be life after Klopp as well. So we might not do 4-3-3. We might play a system that maybe actually suits Nunez more and takes advantage of him more and stuff like that. So many freaking unknowns looking beyond this season, I guess.
Yeah, and that's the scary part, right? We're going into the abyss and we don't know what's going to happen next. So, listen, this is maybe a bit reactionary, but I'm starting to say maybe I don't mind life after Salah based on just the last few games. And that's why I'm saying it's reactionary. It's not necessarily right or wrong. It's just, hey, the team is doing okay. They look good. But is it because they've got that major surge because of that club going away and we're going to do everything? Or is it because they're trying to prove a point? Or is it simply because they're in good form? But when you have a player like Salah that can elevate your team, everybody will do better. So I don't know. I am starting to say life after Salah may not be so bad after all, but that's not the issue, is it? It's life after a club. What the hell happens next? What kind of system do we use? Does a Salah play the same way he plays under the new manager that he does now? Yeah. Does a Nunez work out? Does a guy? I don't know. This is a big question mark, and truly we won't be able to answer it until August this summer. That's when we know what happens next. Once that preseason's done and we're heading into the league, that's when we know what happens next. Because I'm not going to judge the team on preseason. God knows what's going to happen then too. So I don't know. It's scary. That's what I can say right now. It's scary.
It just really depends. Well, I mean, you'll kind of like understand this a lot better, John, because you're a 49er fan like I am. But it could be you can get a manager in who says, "Oh, hey, like this thing is going great. Let me make some like little tweaks," kind of a thing. Like when Wilkes came to the 49ers and sort of bringing his own defense, he was like, "You guys are already pretty darn good, so let me learn what you guys are doing, and I'll add a couple of tweaks." You can get something like that, or you can get something where it's almost impossible for us to now, like Sparky says, we should just enjoy this season because it's almost impossible for us to predict anything squad wise because we don't know what we're going to play.
Yeah, and I'm more on Sparky's camp here. Like I said on the last Wednesday show, call it an unhealthy coping mechanism, but I'm just fully on the present right now, folks. I'm not thinking beyond the last game of the season, of the 2023-2024 season. Whatever happens there, I do not give a flying fuck. I just want to enjoy this season right now because, listen, counting down the days, counting down the remaining press conference, the home games and all that, it means a lot. Because, like I said, Klopp has been easily the most successful manager I've ever seen at Liverpool, so it hurts. But yeah, Sparky pretty much like taking the words out of my mouth. Next season will take care of itself.
Exactly. I think so too. I mean, It's just impossible to predict without even knowing. I mean, like people were watching like Bayer Leverkusen trying to like figure. I mean,
right?
I squad there. You might come over here and be like, well, this squad plays like this. It's not like he has like a template he's going around with, shoving people into the template. I hope not, at least.
Yeah, but I would say though, on like the whole life after Mo thing, Anon pretty much hit the nail on the head there. It's pretty much now life after Klopp, and I feel like obviously if Salah leaves, what can we do? But I feel like it would be more ideal if he stays, so we have that surefire guy up there who will give us that guaranteed production, right, in a season of transition. Because obviously, whoever comes in, it's obviously a massive unknown. And if Mo is anything, he's known. He gives us these numbers. So I'd like that assurance coming into next year that we have a Salah to rely on up front.
So the question is, and this isn't a statement, it's a question. In life after Klopp, do we start to look at cashing in on somebody who's a little older like Salah and try to bring in somebody younger and move forward, or do we keep what we're doing now and hope it still works? And I'm all for him staying, by the way. I don't want him to leave, but I'm just saying, is that where we start thinking like, listen, we've got a brand new team that's going to be reshaping. Should we reshape some of the older members of the team and start fresh, or do we keep Salah? Because if you ask me, I'd keep a guaranteed 30 goals a season guy like him. But what does a new manager think? Do I go young? Do I start fresh, or do I keep this going? Because who wants to come in and be like, yeah, Jurgen did so well, let me just do everything he did? Everybody wants to come in and leave their touch and leave their mark and be, that next guy. And that's why I'm
sure put Trent back at right back.
There we go. And that's, I'm sure we'll have it at some point today, talk about potential managers, but I don't want to get too much into it. But I'm very no Xabi Alonso. I'm very no. And I don't want to take this segment and just talk about that, but I don't want Xabi Alonso.
So who do you want? Now that you said that,
it's still tough to make that pick, but Xabi is just too fresh, and he's doing so well in Bundesliga. But if you think about it, Bayern are 2 points away. They got to play each other. Bayern win. Bayern are back on top. Now, what do we say? He's second in Bundesliga, and what does that do for us?
What was? I mean, aside from 1 year, I mean, it's Bayern you're going against.
Yeah, but
won 2 titles though.
Yeah. Club won some titles, Champions League finals, and he took he did it with Mainz, he did it with Dortmund. He redeveloped the whole team. Xabi Alonso is doing well, but Gerrard did so well in Rangers, right? And then went to Aston Villa, and it wasn't the most successful thing ever. He hasn't won a game in 12 at Al Ittifaq, but doesn't that. But he won in Rangers, right? He's got to come. No, I think it's too early for Xabi for a job so big like Liverpool. I would take a proven manager.
Serzi would. I know it's such a serious segment, but then Serzi just had to break the ice here.
He can speak all the languages. Just put them out there.
Anyways, I think it's just such a big job for anybody with the pressure, with the fans expecting. Listen, it's a tough act to follow when Jurgen's right before you.
Would you prefer someone on with Premier League experience?
Not necessarily. Klopp didn't have any Premier League experience. But I prefer somebody proven. Like everybody's talking about De Zerbi. I'm like, no, Absolutely not. You know, Brighton have done well, but he is not Liverpool caliber.
So what's your number one credential for a club replacement?
So it's very, very. That's a good question, and it's somebody with balls. That's what I care about. Not somebody coming to please. Somebody not coming to please ownership, because we don't want a manager that comes in and is like, okay, FSG, this is what you want, that's what I'll do. This is what you want, that's what I'll do. I want somebody that can make decisions, somebody that can stand in front of those players and get their trust and respect right away. There's a lot of names out there. If we can look at,
you're not giving it him. You're like the guy you went to the buffet. There's like 3-4 offerings. You're like, yeah, I don't like any of these. And then they're like, how would you like? You know what? Be really nice.
All of
the
this
guy behind is like, dude, this
together.
Is what, what do you want?
So a proven winner, Massimiliano Allegri, Italian, Juventus's former coach. He's a proven winner. He plays a good system. He fell off with Juve in his last, recent. So that's maybe we're not going to be looked at. But listen, if I had to pick one guy, and I only want this guy, and I would go all in, it's Pep, not Guardiola.
Linders?
It's our Pep Linders. That's the guy that I want to take over this club. Because if we want to remain going in the same direction, Pep is the guy. He was the tactical genius with Jurgen. He was the one working so much with Jurgen. Players respect him, knows the dressing room, knows everything in this club. Why not move in for him? Club has said it 3 times in one press conference. He is ready. He is ready. He is ready.
Here's why. And I don't know what you think, John. And I love Pep. And when the conversation was happening, is it Pep? Is it Gerrard? I've always been on Pep. I was like, no, the Gerrard. Like similar to what Sparky's saying, I think we get biased when it's ex-players because we automatically feel like, and maybe partially because it's right, because we feel like at least they get the club and the city because they're familiar with that. But my thing with Pep is, and I'm assuming this is what the club thinks as well, some people are excellent assistants, but they made a really shitty manager. I mean, I'm sure you had some assistants, Anan, in your like the stores and stuff that are like, man, that's quite. But the moment he becomes in charge, no, that was his role. He was a great assistant. But the moment he becomes in charge, he's like, dude, what the hell happened? Because he doesn't have an assistant like him to keep him upright. And let's face it, his store manager was probably saying, oh, he's ready because he does a great job. But you never know until somebody is in that situation where they're the only one. And suddenly they're like, oh, shit. Yeah. I was like, so there's nobody for me to go to. I'm the last guy now. And not everybody can sometimes do that.
Real Madrid took a big risk on Zidane because he worked with Ancelotti. He worked in their Castilla. He worked in their academy. And everybody was like, he was a great player. He's a great assistant. But I don't know if this guy would work out as a manager. And he came and boom, Zidane won and won and won, but he was given that chance. Listen, I want Xabi Alonso to get the Liverpool chance. Maybe one day Gerrard gets the Liverpool chance, but now, listen, I don't want to piss any Scousers off. But Jones can be the manager. But now, I don't want to risk this momentum that this club has and this system and this culture that this club has by bringing an outsider. I would put Pep in there, and if it doesn't work out, we're going to be in a trial and error stage. But if it doesn't work out, at least we can say we tried to continue the way that Klopp played in this club and he ran this system. Give me Pep. Let me see what he can do with this bunch. If it doesn't work out, bring Xabi, and then he gets fired too, and so on until Jurgen comes back. But until then, give me Pep and keep the ship going the same way it is.
Where are you at with Pep there?
John? It's the logical choice, and I like it. Like I said, I haven't thought that far ahead, but Anan is swaying me over here because let's face it, we pretty much have the players to perform this system to the best of its ability, and you'd be foolish not to continue it. And it's human tendency to come in if you're like, for example, a Xabi Alonso or De Zerbi or someone, come in, put your own style, put your own approach and everything like that. So what's going to happen to certain players who don't fit? Like, we're just going to toss them out. Like, all the effort that club, put in over the last few months, the last few years, going to be thrown out the window. So it's unfortunate. But yeah, as much as I like Pep, though, he isn't staying. So
Well, I
as
mean,
good.
obviously,
Yeah.
everybody is like, I don't think he was even offered. I mean,
Right,
they've been
right.
talking about
So
this since November.
Yeah.
They're not like considering him. And like I say,
Yeah.
we don't know the full dynamics behind the scenes, but and as much as I thought all along, like I say, like he would be the natural successor, it makes sense. Maybe it makes too much sense. But there are times where, we talk about continuity and stuff like that. Like he knows the squad, he knows the players, but the players know him as a certain voice, and players have Klopp as a certain voice. Like, right? Like you have a certain that guy, the authority, and this comes from this guy, this comes from this guy, that guy
Right.
from everybody has a certain role. You can't just shift this guy to that role and proceed as normal, because the guys on the team that we say he's used to are used to you in a specific role, and are not going to take it as well now when you're the big boss.
I guess you're gonna have to weigh both instances. Would you rather take a chance on Pep and his reputation making it to the locker room, or would you rather just get someone in with a whole new approach and possibly gut this whole project? It depends on what ownership would want. And for me, honestly, going on the safe side, I prefer continuity. Anon obviously chose Pep, so he'd prefer continuity. So would you, Tim, prefer continuity, or would you rather like put someone in risking, gutting this project and putting his own players in?
I mean, there's a reason why they're not going with Pep, is my thing. We don't know the dynamics. We're just basically saying like, oh, like, the president has been kidnapped, the vice president is in charge, kind of an ordeal, but there's a reason why the other dude is a vice, and there's a certain role that he plays. Like I say, I've seen so many people who are great assistants, and they make a really shitty guy when they have the full control. And that's why I assume Club is seeing, and Sparky might be right. They already know who they're going to bring, because they knew this for now 3 months, and they probably had a plan going around. And he might be a good manager somewhere else. He's had a manager stint that didn't go well, and that's what everybody was holding against him. But I mean, he has so many years and he's matured so much, and that's another thing. Sometimes you kind of like do that gig, it doesn't pan out, then you go back a step and you're like, oh shit, this is what I should have done. So I can see him being a successful manager. I just feel like they know something that we don't, if they didn't offer it to them, because it makes too much sense otherwise. Why would, and everybody blames FSG for being cheap. Why wouldn't they just be like, hey, we'll just give you a 10% raise, why don't you just be in charge?
Well, with his manager stint, it was a second division Dutch leagues, and he didn't get promotion, but it wasn't a good team, and it wasn't like they were the best team. They were a struggling side, and he went in to try to save them, and it just didn't work out. So I don't want that to be held against him. Here's another. Let's think of it this way. Jurgen says he's stepping down. FSG doesn't want, and Liverpool doesn't want to announce Pep right away. So they say he's leaving too, because they don't want to make it weird until the end of the season. And then at the end of the season, they're like, hey, listen, this guy's going to be the manager. Maybe they do know their man. Maybe it is Pep, but they're not going to announce it now. Oh, Jurgen is stepping down. Pep is the boss. And now it's just weird for the last 15 games of the season. We're like, who do we listen? Aren't you next year? Maybe that's happening.
I don't know, listen to his interview. It didn't come across like that.
Well, and also the Liverpool CEO Hogan said, yeah, it's not Pep.
But we got an agenda to push here. Like we got to convince.
I gotta spread some bullshit and hope it happens. What's the language barrier like for Xabi Alonso? What's it gonna look like if we bring in somebody who doesn't speak good English? What's it gonna be like if we bring in somebody who is younger or is significantly older? Because FSG will just bring in Sam Allardyce and be like, fuck it, just run the show. We don't know what could happen here. Play it safe. Keep Pep as the manager. See how that goes. If it doesn't work out, we move on. But don't break something that was well built by Pep and Klopp. Keep in mind, Szoboszlai was a Pep signing, right? Everybody was talking about that in the summer, that Pep wanted Szoboszlai. I don't know what's going on with McAllister, but a lot of these players are scouted and are picked by Pep. So that's his team. These are his guys. Let him manage them and see how it works. If it doesn't work out, that's fine. But that's my reckless take of the week. Pep for manager, nobody else. If anybody else,
that is reckless. Because I feel like so you just made a case where just like Klopp is like in the background reading a book.
No, but everybody knows that Pep, and even Pep's book talks about it. Klopp has talked about it. Pep has talked about it openly. He is the tactical guy. Pep is. Jurgen is one of the best managers we've ever had. But the tactical man is Pep. Klopp is everything. He's the strategic. He's the system. He's everything. But tactics come from Pep. Let him run the show.
Sometimes tactics is not enough. to be
Yeah,
the main
we've
guy.
seen
That's
it
my
happen
thing.
for us.
The
We've
man
seen
management comes from Klopp, and maybe that's
Yes.
his weakness. You know, I mean, we don't know. Like I say, I just know I can see why they would not if they feel like, yeah, he's a great number 2, but not necessarily number 1. And I can see what Anand is saying too. They're like, yeah, let's just finish out
So
the season.
let's say,
His Pep's interview made it sound like at the end of the season, I'm gonna, he wants to, in terms of like move to a new location with the family, decide accordingly and stuff. That's
his
what it came across.
His interview was a farewell video. It was like, hey, thanks for everything, y'all. I'm out. So here's the question: Pep leaves, manages.
Oh jeez.
We bring back. I wouldn't be so opposed.
He knows the city.
Wait, what? You just said he wouldn't be opposed to it. Like reckless. You're talking about reckless.
Guys, it's all about character. Okay, so come on, he's got a great character, and the boys showed great character. No, listen. Pep leaves, manages another club, and does so well, and everybody's talking about him. And he's such a great manager. Do we regret it? Do we say we wish we had Pep, especially if we're struggling?
And depends on where he's doing it.
Yeah, I mean, and it also that could happen even if we look at Zidane's picture and then he does so well in the next club. We're like, that could have been us, and we weren't even close to get him. So that's a stupid hypothetical. But I want Pep, and it's not going to happen. It's just wishful thinking. But because we know Pep is not going to happen, Tim, if they say to you right now, who's your next manager next season? Who is it? If you're making that call, you've got this pen and you can sign him right now. Who is it? This pen doesn't work.
Yeah, can you get a proper pen over there? I don't.
Reckless Friday.
I don't use orange pens. Yeah.
It's a Reckless Friday. It's probably the pen that Darwin uses.
This is actually Thiago's pen. He signs his casts with it all the time.
I don't know. You got to kind of like talk to people and see who is. I mean, FSG will in terms of like what they think of the squad and how they're going to use the squad. And I mean, right now, comparing the options, I probably do say Alonso, and I'm more saying that probably. I mean, Sparky says Alonso too. I don't think we're saying it for managerial experience as much, but it really depends. I want to talk to these guys and ask them what they think of the squad, because it goes back to what you're saying, Anand. Like, what are you going to do with Szoboszlai? What are you going to do with Nunez? Are you going to need a 6? Like, what do you think the squad needs, kind of thing? Because we look at the squad. I mean, if Klopp kept going, you look at the squad, and aside from center back and maybe a number 6, even though he does look like he likes McAllister at the 6, and we'll talk about his stats in a little bit over here in terms of like what he's done. But I don't know in terms of like what's exactly. Only Anand agrees with Anand. But I think you ask the guy what he's going to do with the squad, how he's going to utilize the squad, because you don't want to blow up the whole thing. John, who are you picking?
Oh, fuck me. Like I said, I haven't really
talked. John is like, just ask me in June. Like, Marky's right. This is probably all said and done for the most part.
Yeah, my gut feel is that we get Shabby as well. Although, like I said, I didn't really think this far, but I have read some articles and stuff talking about the fit. I don't know about the fit. He's a very ball to feet kind of player. I dare say he's Pep before he adjusted to the Premier League, which is just pushing pure tiki-taka, passing around. He doesn't utilize the long ball as much, and we do. And that kind of worries me. Like most of our attackers, the Salahs, the Nunez's, all that. So I'm with Anand here. I'm not sure about the fit. I'm not sure about the pedigree and all that. But having said,
I don't know though. Maybe he doesn't have a Van Dijk who can just haul the diagonal like he did.
I understand that, Tim. But then obviously he could probably adjust. This isn't a statement that's set in stone. But then again, we have a group of players here that fit a certain system. And if we bring in Alonso, we're going to probably have to resign ourselves to lower expectations the first year or even the second year. Because I feel like if we bring him here, Ryan kind of said this, a while ago, any decent manager would gut this team. I feel like it's inevitable if you bring someone like an Alonso because, listen, he's going to want to bring in his guys. He's going to want to take out some of the people who it's never going to be a hand and glove fit. That's just human nature. We're probably going to have a Nunez or a Jota or even probably a Salah that won't fit, and they're going to be gone. So it's going to be
Nunez does not fit right now. Nunez does not fit the system. You guys can argue this all you want. Nunez does not fit the system. He's not designed
Well,
the system.
if not,
Nunez is the system.
Yeah,
if
it
not,
could
well,
be a lot better
if
system that makes use of Nunez.
if not fitting is 11 goals and 11 assists, Tim, I'll take it.
Again, if I crank up 15 shots too, I might get 11 alone. We kind of had this discussion.
Oh.
I think you will have, like, I don't think, for example, we brought in Carvalho in the past. I don't think this system ever fit him.
Yeah, but then,
how many times have we said if we play this like 4-2, like 1-3 or 4-2-3-1 and stuff like that, this system is more suited for that, the squad, and we're like, but we know Klopp will never do it. And we were like, okay, so how does the lineup going to be? Because we know he's never going to do it. I feel like you can bring somebody who says, well, I'm going to use Nunez this way. I'm going to use Szoboszlai this way, make him like a number 10 and stuff like that. I honestly, yeah. But hey, not only that, you got to figure he's walking around in a boot too. So Nunez is not ready to take 15 shots as well.
No boot.
Also that.
No boot. No boot.
no boot. Yeah, no boot.
No boots. No boots supposedly right now. But yeah, I mean, whoever comes in is not going to be Klopp an automatic disappointment in some ways. So I guess, and that's where it goes back to what you're saying, Anand. Do you bring somebody who has more experience so that everybody does actually stop and listen? But the city, the fans, whoever you bring, they're just not going to be Klopp. So it doesn't matter who you bring. They're not Klopp.
And that's the problem, because like he's going to be a tough act to follow, and man, it's tough. It's tough. I don't want.
See, this is why you avoid the problem.
Yeah, this is why we should have never gotten this. But you took us down
the name that I also put out, and Serzi said, and I also wanted Rafa. I said sentiment because I love him, not because I want him to manage us. Would get relegated.
Anan, for the record, I wasn't 100% against the idea.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go there because it's we're not gonna be that reckless today.
Yeah.
But come on. Anyways, listen. How about Lopetegui?
Why? I guess
he did a job with Wolves, and he only left because he had issues with ownership. But Lopetegui, I mean, he's a good manager. He's proven he can win. I don't know how he would do in a big team, but he's another guy who plays good football, a good system, very similar to the way Jurgen plays, and he's got an eye for a young talent. So that's a name I would consider. But obviously it's not going to happen. We know that. It's just I'm throwing names out there that are available. And every time I think of a name,
holding up the line at the buffet is all you're doing over here.
Yeah. Right? So there's not a meal good enough for me to just eat and enjoy.
I did mention, Tim, during the day that Klopp announced that he was leaving, that I feel like FSG might be leaning towards a kind of left field appointment. Like, we have all these names, but knowing FSG and their
approach, oh my god, they're gonna bring in Jesse March, aren't they?
That will be out of
right, like
way out of left field.
What do you guys think is the likelihood that all these names that we're talking about, they probably bring in someone we're not really going to be expecting? Because if you guys remember, when we signed Brendan Rodgers, who the fuck thought we were going to sign Brendan Rodgers?
Brendan Rodgers only.
Yeah, Brendan Rodgers only, right? Like, I feel like that's in play as well. Like, what did Nagelsmann?
Ooh, man, this is gonna go south. Yeah.
If it's Tuchel, give me Rafa.
We've been talking about this for 20 minutes. What else we got on the agenda?
I blame you. Thiago to become a player manager, and then Nunez will be his assistant. There you go, done. And that's the thing. I think the key is I feel like FSG will have learned a valuable lesson and say this is the key guy, not everything else we do, but this is the key right here. Get a good sporting director. Because let's face it, like those moves that we've done in the past has really helped. And this is a squad that's pretty much ready, which we'll talk about now as we head into a huge game this weekend. Obviously, we're going to be here for the pre-match as well. But, John, we talked about, I think, earlier in the week, 4 out of 6, we're happy now, right? We said we're okay, content with it. Not happy with it, but content with it.
Yeah.
The way we blew Chelsea away, are you still content with that, or you're like, no, man, we should definitely win this. We should be able to win this.
There will be some disappointment, I feel, because as Arsenal, they've kind of recovered from their post-holiday slump, so it's kind of a little bit of normal service has resumed to kind of deal with them. So it's always going to be tough. This is probably so we're going to face City at Anfield, and we're going to be facing Arsenal here at the Emirates. Which do you guys think is a tougher fixture? I'm slightly leaning towards Arsenal, honestly. due to the fact that we
anytime you
don't.
play City, I say City because they, so many people who.
Well, no Mo, no Endo. We have a hobbled Darwin. We're going to arguably the most intimidating venue in the Premier League, right? One of the most intimidating venues in the Premier League. I'd say it's a pretty tough fixture. I'd still be content with a draw, but the disappointment will be more, to answer your question, Tim, because like I said, that Chelsea, we looked unplayable before we made those three subs. And obviously a lot of questions are going to go into the lineup and everything, but yeah, slightly like I'd probably be 10% disappointed before the Chelsea game started if we got a draw against Arsenal, but now it's like 50% disappointed.
See, going away to Arsenal, going away in the Premier League is always difficult, but I feel like Arsenal, United are teams that I don't worry about that.
You're treading dangerous ice there, Tim.
No, because there are stadiums where you can turn the fans on the team a lot easier than other stadiums. Like, it's a lot harder to have the Newcastle fans turn on Newcastle when you're playing them there. Whereas Arsenal, if you get an early lead, a couple of misplaced passes, and people are going to be like you're going to hear that coming from the stands. Obviously, they're going to be up for the game and going anywhere out there. Oh, Michael Martin is going Bale. This is going just south over here with the names now. Just like I'm really shocked that nobody has thrown my name out there. And you know what? Slightly offended. What do you think about this away game over here? I would take Thiago as my assistant too, and a translator at the same time to appease everyone.
Physio, he's probably got enough experience now.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, by the way, he was in full training today. He scored a goal, and he had a really great training.
Full training?
Yeah, and he beautiful back heel, turns around, gets a shot. It was beautiful. And it was one of those hip moves where.
And then you just woke up in sweat. You were like, oh, yeah.
No, it really happened. It really, and then when
I love how he has to confirm it really happened, guys.
No,
Come on. Stop clowning me here.
When he got the ball, it was beautiful control with like the back heel, and he turned. And you could hear the hip say Shakira, Shakira. It was beautiful. But listen, I'm not worried about Arsenal. This may be weird. It doesn't count. Just wait, Brian. Nice picture, by the way. Because of the way we played against Chelsea, because of the level of adrenaline that's running in this team, I think the Arsenal game will be a lot less difficult than we're making it sound. Obviously, Arsenal away is not easy. And they're in good form. But the way we're playing and the way Klopp has these guys playing and the way these guys are playing for Klopp, I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be not very easy, but relatively easy. And I think we get the job done. I think we get a few goals here and there, and I think we concede. But at the end of the day, we're going to win the game, and we'll get 6 out of 6.
Fucking hell, I wish I had that kind of...
I don't know if, like...
Thiago's going to be on the bench.
I just don't feel. I guess I worry that Sparky is optimistic. He's going with the 2-0. He must have golfed really well on the other day because he's very positive today. And we didn't even bring up Jones yet. So, but I think, I don't know. As much as I was so impressed with Wednesday, let's face it, we're never gonna have a ref again where all the calls somehow go our way, John. Yeah. So I kind of worry about that aspect as well. And this is a good question right here. Do we, having seen what we saw on Wednesday and how that starting 11 plays, do we even risk and bring Trent in when Bradley's doing well defensively as well?
Yeah, it's a selection headache. And
Trent starts.
You think Trent starts enough?
Has to.
Why?
Well, he's fit. Connor Bradley was a sub just for him to get fit. He's done well. And I said it in the post-match because it was low pressure, under pressure, go in there and perform. This game on Sunday, make or break. This is, for me, this is for the league title. Win this game, continue your surge. You've got City at home. You'll be okay. We have to win this game. You play Trent regardless of what's going on. If he's fit, he plays.
Sorry, no. Go ahead.
No, I'm done.
Yeah, a man of culture right there. Trent starts in midfield. I'm kidding. Reckless Friday.
Yeah, stop before I boot you up the studio.
So, sorry. In all seriousness, I'm more concerned of Gomez starting on the left than Trent starting on the right. I'm okay with either Trent or Bradley starting. I want Gomez on the left.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, Michael says, and I do agree, and this is probably where my worry is coming from. They're not Chelsea. I mean, Chelsea looked fucking brutal, dude. Like that just like it almost looked like a pickup game. Like they just grabbed everybody. They were like, "Oh, you play left wing? Come on in, man. You play left," and that's how they played. I mean, you could tell. I mean, our press is not that good, for God's sakes. It looked like ridiculous. We were winning every ball within like half a second, but we were hunting impact. So gotta give, and that's why I feel like gotta give that team credits. Everybody's saying I mean, it is so hard to tell Gomez now, hey, Robertson is back, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, it's really unfair on the guy.
And defensively, I would rather have Gomez go against Saka, and I would rather have Bradley defensively again go against Martinelli. And if we are down, because like Michael Martin says, we could have been, they just couldn't finish anything in the FA Cup game. If we are down, then go ahead and bring Trent in and stuff when we're playing catch up and when we need to be more attacking. But I feel like got to stop him first.
Yeah, there's surely going to be like an opening wave that we're going to have to take from the first whistle. And I'm more confident with Joe Gomez there on that left, taking on Saka. There were plenty of opportunities for me to jinx Gomez in terms of my praise, but he's risen through even my curse. So I'm confident in giving him some praise here. 2 games against Saka, and he has his number. And that's just too hard to ignore, people. I feel like you have to start Gomez on that left side.
I think so, too. And the Trent thing, I get what Anana's saying. I mean, if this was home, Anan, would you then consider having Bradley? Is it the fact that we're going away and the kid is not used to going to the hostile environments?
I think I'm in a place where regardless of the situation, I start Trent. Mm-hmm. Because, again, Bradley was brought in just because Trent was injured. He's done tremendous. He's done well. Doesn't mean he keeps his position when Trent's fit. When he's fit, Trent's one of the best in the world. He's going to give you everything you need for chance creation. He's not going to be your best. He's waiting for it. He's not your best defender ever. But I'd rather have an experienced Trent going up against Arsenal than an inexperienced Connor, because we haven't seen Bradley make any mistakes. But listen, he's a kid. He will. Why should we wait for the mistake to happen and see, that's what happens when you put a kid in a game like this, fucking club, he did this, he did that. No. Go with your experienced guys. Go with your best 11. Get the job done. Thiago's going to be on the bench. It's okay. We're going to win.
I mean, yeah. I don't think Thiago's going to be on the bench, by the way. I have to break it to you. Hey, how many times have you slagged that Gomez as not good enough?
Lots in the preseason.
Under the bus.
Yeah, lots on the preseason. But, a player can change, and he has. So great on him, right?
He has not changed. You have, John.
Yeah, I've changed.
Times don't change. People do. No, I mean, we're not going to pretend like Gomez has been doing this well his whole career. I mean,
exactly.
Okay, I get it with the whole "I told you so." He's good. Okay, we know he's good. He's our longest-serving player in the club, but he's had shit games.
Yeah.
So has Nunez. So has Thiago. So has Szoboszlai. So has Van Dijk. So has everybody. So let's not pretend like he's been.
I think the issue has been
ever.
Is even when Gomez has not had the shit game, just because he was in the vicinity of the crime, he has been arrested.
Hey, listen, Tim, I know what you're going for there, and I'm gonna hold my hands up. I'm guilty.
That's what everybody does to Darwin, and nobody. Oh, so now we're all defenders of rights of people, but when everybody shits on Darwin 24/7, nobody. Come on.
I mean, the reasons I shit on Darwin, I don't think you can disagree. Like the stupid yellows, the stupid offsides, and stuff like that. That's what I shit on Darwin for. He has to kind of like mature up and get those.
It would be like we're playing at Arsenal. Darwin gets a hat trick and 19 assists, and then after the game, Tim's gonna be like, "But he was offside once, motherfucker."
But see, I think you take such a obnoxious opposite. Everything is positive. He does no wrong thing.
Oh, he does a lot of wrong. I just don't want to admit it.
That don't see his negatives is what distorts this entire argument. And I think that's why it's polarizing. Because people feel like they either have to defend him or they have to shit on him. I'm okay with this misses.
Well,
he's gonna miss. Any striker is going to miss.
Yeah,
but
I see his negatives.
More mature in your game.
I see his negatives.
Not fucking get yellow cards for kicking the ball and shit like that. 20 minutes into the fucking game, affecting your entire game. And those are things that he has to get better at.
I agree. I see his negatives. As a matter of fact, he's a walking negative, but he's gonna eventually do some positives. So
Run into another negative and become
yeah,
positive.
it's gonna work out eventually. It's gonna work out eventually.
And again, if 11 goals and 11 assists is the floor, that's a pretty good good bar to start.
Yeah. That's where I'm trying to go with this. Give me 11 and 11 last year. And I'll
Anon's upset because he said Nunez would get more goals than Salah. Where are we at with that? Salah's been gone for like a month.
Yeah.
How many goals does Salah have for the season?
I think 14 in the Premier League.
And 14 and 10. Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
That's just in the Premier League, I think.
But that's just in the Premier League enough.
That ain't shit. Where's the bet is still on. Also, each 2 assists count as a goal, so we're okay. We're okay. Nunez has more.
I bet you Mo has just as many assists as well.
Okay, I'm gonna be the producer here and give the facts. Mo has 18 in all comps, 9 assists.
Okay, and how many does Darwin have?
Let me bring up Nunez here.
10 and 11.
11 and 11 now, isn't it?
I know he didn't score.
Oh, that's right.
He almost did. 14.
4 posts, 1 goal. The good old days where you used to do 3 corners, 1 penalty kick.
Yeah, he has 11 and 11 in all comps.
11 and 11. So the difference is how many goals? 7 goals?
A lot.
The difference is 7 goals.
It's like 70%, bro. Like, let me help you with that math.
Yeah, no, it's honestly, it's not that far off, and Darwin's gonna get it. We're okay.
Bear in mind, one guy has been gone for almost a month.
Darwin hasn't played for almost a month towards the beginning of the season. It's okay. It's okay. And Darwin just started getting his starting role now. We're okay.
We still have that clip to play back and then compare.
I have it.
We should do that. Okay, we should get that clip and then put the stats over it and publish it as a shorts. Make sure we get on this. Okay, predictions as we head out. And like I say, once the lineup comes out, we won't have to fight over Trent or Bradley. We'll know who's starting. Yeah, I hope John is right, though. We do see Gomez on the left. But let's get some early score predictions for this game.
2-1 for me. I was going to say 4-2, but I don't want to jinx it. I still think 4-2, but I'll say 2-1.
3-2. Liverpool.
Yeah, my heart says 3-2, but the brain does say 2-2 for this game. Ryan is going with the 3-2 as well. Yeah, it looks like, since we're all saying like 3-2, 2-2 and stuff, there's going to be like a 0-0 draw at the end of the day. But I feel like they're going to come up. I think John is right. The first 5-10 minutes is going to be key to stop that wave, because I'm sure they're still hurting from the FA Cup game, because they know, like Michael was saying earlier in the comments, I'm sure they know that they had a chance to put that game away and get the lead and stuff like that, and they kind of like blew it. Sheldon is going with 3-1. It's getting more and more optimistic. Another 2 minutes on air, we're going to get the 4-0, 5-0 predictions, and we can just ride off into the sunset over here. Well, everybody, thanks as always. Reckless Friday is over. We will be back
Is it?
on...
Is it over? Is it? Like, we can still continue it on the Discord.
I sent you guys the Thiago video
on the Discord over Bradley or Trent or Gomez or Robo and stuff. I think that's going to be the biggest discussion right now. And is this Nunez's foot going to fit in the boot? I think if it does, I think you just start with the same 11 that just like demolished Chelsea.
I just saw the video announcement. I was worried that Thiago might, pull something there.
That's the video of him scoring the goal.
That titanium hip is looking good.
It's pretty bad when the highlights of Thiago are like scenes from the practice pitch.
You'll see him on Sunday.
Remember on a Thursday when he scored that goal? Yeah, that was something. But yeah, hopefully he'll be back too. Obviously, I mean, days are going by, man. Before you know it, Endo is going to be back as well. This is exciting. And honestly, yeah, I think Anan is right. You win 3 points from this game. You kind of like get on the highway knowing we play City at home and knowing the depth of the squad and stuff like that. Once Champions League and stuff starts, I would hope that, you will get City maybe stumbling a bit more likely. I know they always go on a run in the second half of the season. But we will be back right before the game. Once the lineup comes out, we will see you guys then. Have an excellent Friday, stressless Saturday, and then we'll be back. Don't be reckless, people. We'll see you guys. Take care.